Hey everybody, and welcome to this new series covering the figures from Awaken Realms Nemesis Lockdown. In this episode we're going to be looking at the Larvae figures, and we're going to be looking at doing them in a speed painting fashion so that we can get them back to the board quickly. So let's just jump straight over into some prep and some prime. The figures have already been primed with a Zenithal Prime, which is just black, followed by a grey from above and then white, and I'll pop a link above to a very basic video that I did in the past. I'll then be applying a white dry brush to the figures using a heavy bodied white and some bit of kitchen roll to wipe the excess off onto. You really don't need much on your brush, and you just need to wipe it away until hardly anything leaves the bristles. Then go over the whole figure, picking out all of those raised edges, and when that's all done we're ready to apply some colours. I'm going to kick things off with the base, and I'll be using Decayed Metal from Scale 75 for this. I'm just going to do it in a single coat and not be too precious about the consistency. For the skin tones I'm going to be using Magos Purple and then dotting in some of the Plaguebearer Flesh to create a sort of mottled effect. You'll also see me adding it over the highlights as I work. For the black areas I'll be using 4 parts Gryph-Charger Grey and 1 part Black Templar, and you can see me mixing them together in the palette just here. I'll then use Volupus Pinks on the little one's tongues and the rear wing flap things on the larger model. I'm then going to make a glaze up of roughly 2 parts contrast medium to 1 part shyish purple, which I'm going to use to boost the contrast on the skin. I'll glaze this into the shadowed areas and using a small fine tipped size 1 brush from Rosemary & Co. I'll then use the pure shyish purple for the interior of the mouth, and then I'll glaze a little bit more of the blue-black mix into some select areas to try and boost the contrast there as well. I'll use Steel Legion Drab as a base for the teeth to give it that rotting, tartary look. Followed by a quick wash of Agrax Earthshade. Once that's dried, I'll then come back and apply some Ushabti Bone to the teeth, which I'll also brighten up with some Ivory. with a final dot of pure ivory on each tip. For the little ones, I'm then going to move on to the base and start giving them a coat in some black metal, which I'll use for this piece of scrap and also for the wire ends, as well as selectively on what they're standing on. I'll then give all of the metallics, including the original base coat, a dry brush with the Thrash Metal in order to make it look a little bit chipped and worn. For the scrap that it's standing on, I used 2 parts contrast medium to 1 part Nazdreg Yellow, and then I just used a green and blue standard colours to colour in the wire on the base as well. And now for some finishing touches. I mixed each of our base colours with some ivory in order to make some really bright final highlights in certain places. I started off with the Magos Purple, then moved on to the Gryph-Charger Grey, and finally the Volupus Pink on the tongue. I then gave all the metallics on the base a wash with 2 parts Nuln Oil and 1 part Agrax Earthshade, and left that to dry for about 20 minutes. When that wash has dried, I then dry brushed some Ryza Rust onto the base, followed by some small select patches of Nihilakh Oxide to create some weathering and corrosion effects. Once they dried, I then painted the rim in black, and when that was all ready, I then gave the whole miniature a coat in ultramatte varnish. Finally, when that's all dried, I'm going to add some drool, and for this you'll need some UHU glue, a plastic receptacle of some description, and a cocktail stick. Simply pour some glue into the pot, wrap the tip of your cocktail stick round in the glue until it's well coated, and then just gently touch that to the teeth and draw it down towards the base. And apologies for going slightly off camera while trying to do this. And this completes the Larvae, and I do hope that you enjoyed the episode as much as I enjoyed making it. It was a real pleasure to go for a more speed paint approach, and I'm really pleased with the results. A list of paints will be on your screen as always, and if you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for all future content. Feel free to leave a comment below, but until next time folks, bye for now.